Hello and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Wednesday Warrior from Port Ewan,
New York.
Port Ewan, New York. Sunny, shiny Port Ewan, New York. Sponsored by Power Card Games and Comics. My name is Skylar Hathaway.
I'm Chris Potter.
Alright, what do we got, Chris?
We got Avengers #1 by Jed MacKay and C.F. Villa, World's Finest 15, Titans 1, Little Monsters #13, and Guardians of the Galaxy #2. We're doing 5 books this week.
We're hopefully doing 5 books. How come we only gave the credits for Avengers #1?
I decided it would take too long, and I think we're going to get to it.
There's other people on these books, Chris. Alright, yeah, we got Avengers #1. Might as well hold up some covers.
Yeah.
I got this cover because I plan to get it signed, and there's a lot of cool space on this to get signed.
Yeah, and I got this one by Stuart Immonen.
He's got the regular cover. I think it looks okay. I'm going to do the summary here because I think this summary is probably the easiest summary we got.
Yeah.
Maybe next to Little Monsters. That was pretty easy too. The Avengers have disbanded. For what reason, I don't know. There's no editor's notes that tell us why, but they have disbanded. And it happens after the events of Avengers Assemble Omega, which we did get an editor's note for, but not a useful editor's note for.
Okay.
So Carol Danvers, who's now the captain of the Avengers, I don't know who made that decision. Do you know who made that decision?
I think it was a unanimous decision. At the start, they say she was elected in by the current Avengers roster. They're active members.
Which are nobody. So we got Carol. She's leading the Avengers. For what reason? I don't know. We need a leader, I guess. Steve's too busy. Obviously, we saw him being busy in the comic, right? He was definitely too busy, right?
Yeah.
He's busy boxing. He can't lead the Avengers. He's got a box. And then, T'Challa was too busy too, right? Too busy to lead the Avengers. He's
too
busy.
War criminal.
He's too busy fishing. He needs to fish. We gotta let him fish. Okay. Iron Man. I don't think anybody wants Iron Man to lead the Avengers anymore.
No.
Fair enough. So we got Carol. All right. That's fine. I can swallow that. There's a lot in this book that I have to just swallow. Just swallow. Because if I sit on these things too long, I'm not going to enjoy this comic at all. So, all right. So she's building her team. That's the whole comic. The other half of the comic is while she's building her team, there's a flashback to about, I think, 6 days later, where she's fighting this giant robot man.
Yeah, it's not named, it's just an alien.
No, it's
creature.
got a name. Terminus.
Okay.
It has a name. I didn't bother to. I don't even think I took a note on it because didn't care. Didn't seem that important. Don't know where the story is going even. I was so focused on the team building and trying to hash out the details of how this literally connects to the literal last Avengers book. And there's next to no connective tissue next to that editor's note that was forcefully put in there. But where we needed an editor's note is when she goes and picks up T'Challa and he's in the middle of the ocean fishing for no good reason. He was just, to my knowledge, he was the leader of the Avengers through the Jason Aaron run. He doesn't really take on much of a leader responsibility at a certain point during that run. He kind of, because things get really bombastic and crazy, that it's just not that important anymore.
Yeah.
But she's going. She's picking people up, and they're fighting the bad guy, and it's flashbacks between them fighting the bad guy and her picking people up. She picks up Tony. She picks up T'Challa. She picks up Sam Wilson. She picks up Thor. Who else is on
Wanda
this
and
cover
Vision.
over here? She picks up Wanda and Vision separately.
Yeah.
And I guess that's about it. And the book ends with them finding. She gets taken right in a bubble. She gets into a bubble, and they take her away. And then she opens the bubble, and there she is in Kangland.
Yeah.
Kang's there, and nobody else is there, and then the book ends.
Yeah.
Big Kang splash page, which also, if you haven't read Timeless, you're not going to know what that is either. So, book was good. Carol was this really impressive, mature, level-headed character, which is very unusual for me reading Carol in places.
For modern Carol, I
She's
think
usually
Jed MacKay understands this character better than most writers. I think he puts a lot of things in there that shows that he cares about this character.
He's only been writing for an issue. I don't know if you can say that after one issue.
Yeah, but there are some details in there, like...
He's writing her how he wants to, is what I would say.
Okay.
Right? Because both me and you know that she's real spearheaded to the point of almost ignorant level character. Here she is being spearheaded, but not ignorant at all. She goes to each of them and she wants to hear out like their problems and why they left the Avengers and why it's all disbanded and why she's got to put it back together, and she's being very responsible about it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like Carol to me at all. She's a lone wolf also. She goes and plays around her own thing, does her own thing. So I think this is nice for them to give.
I think she's a long-term Avenger for the most part. Not as Captain Marvel, but she has a long history as Ms. Marvel, and almost all of that is either powerless because of Rogue or as an Avenger. I think she's one of the longest? No, but like she's a very long-standing member of the team.
All right.
And has a good rapport with everyone. They mentioned the thing that made me
she
say that, like,
she doesn't have a good rapport with everyone.
Okay.
She fought Tony Stark in a civil war. She bumps heads with Captain America on a constant basis. T'Challa and her look like, even as they were talking, looked like they were trying to one-up each other in the whole conversation. So I would disagree with that too. She's not a jerk though. Right?
No.
She's gonna come and she's trying to do a good thing here. So she's not gonna turn up that Carol Danvers all the way to 11. She's probably trying to tone it down. She seems more sympathetic to their problems. She seems more like they can be sympathetic to where she has as a leader. Because I think almost everybody on the squad has led the Avengers at one point or another, or at least a form of the Avengers.
Yeah, maybe.
So she's really out of character for me, but I like the way she's written because she's out of character. I can't stand that woman in titles most of the time.
Yep.
So that's what's up, sort of. Maybe a bad characterization? I don't know. I'm not the person to call things on Carol Danvers. If this was Batman, I could make a firm judge right now. Another note I made is they make a reference to Tony and both hers alcoholism.
Yeah, he was her sponsor.
It's a terrible. If you're an alcoholic, you shouldn't be the leader of Avengers. I don't know what they're thinking. Oh,
she
right.
Was.
They disbanded, and so they don't have anybody else in charge, and so she's left to take over. This is how we got an alcoholic. He's the captain of the Avengers. All right, whatever. Moving on. It's a well-woven story. There's really good timing in there. Whenever they bring a character in, usually the flashback will flash back to a part. Sorry, other way around. Usually when they go back to main story where they're fighting Terminus, it's with the character that she was just trying to bring onto the squad. So, like, the pages are pretty seamless. They jump forward really easily, jump backward again really easily. I liked Carol's civilian clothes when she goes to visit the Caps.
Yeah.
She's wearing, like... It's stupid. It's like Power Rangers. When Power Rangers aren't morphed, they're in the same colors as what their colors are as Power Rangers. She's not in her Captain Marvel uniform yet. She's wearing the same damn colors that would be otherwise. She might as well have just shown up.
It's a dead ringer.
Yeah, I don't understand. I guess it was fun. I got a laugh out of it. I don't know if that's the intention. I noted that Scarlet Witch lives somewhere in Fishkill. It says something other kill, but it's totally Fishkill. I looked up the place that they cited. It's not a real place in New York. And Marvel's famous for using real places. So I have to assume that they just didn't want to actually use Fishkill. But Scarlet Witch lives in Fishkill, which is like an hour away from here, not even. So that's pretty cool. Yep. I don't understand why she's on the team. She's, to me, more of a bad guy than a good guy, or at least more of a problem than a solve. So I think this might be Jed MacKay giving Scarlet Witch another opportunity to screw things up for us in the future. So I think that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to Scarlet Witch being not an Avenger in 20 issues. And then you got Terminus, and he's all mad.
He's kind of this energy source for this Project Pegasus or whatever.
He's a big mad energy man.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants some energy. He's a hungry man. And the Avengers beating him up. That's pretty. He's just hungry. One of the last lines in there, they were like, we got the star, the king, the construct, the god, the engineer, the icon, the witch. Made them all seem way more self-important than they really are.
Yeah.
Made them seem like these like icon god figures or something like that. And although I like these names, these nicknames for these characters, they were really pouring it on thick at the end there, trying to make it seem like, yeah, these are the pedestals that the Marvel Universe is laid upon. These are the characters that are going to show us forward into the new world. And if you look at this Avengers cover, they're all looking in one direction.
Yeah, it's very New Frontier.
It almost looks like they're looking at what would be issue 2. So if we read, us Americans read left to right, like what comes after issue 1 is issue 2, and they're looking towards it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to issue 2 as well, just like our Avengers, because I don't know what the hell we did in this issue other than set up a team. I don't think we did anything else, really. What do you think, Chris? You seem to have lots of faces for everything I said today so far.
Yeah, I like this book. I thought a lot of the characterizations were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I really liked Vision's whole deal. I thought it was
Sad robot again?
yeah, but
That's
it's
not
like
tiring for you?
whatever.
That's like
It's Vision's deal.
That's like his, yeah.
And it's like
his
basing
own
off this like Marvel events. He didn't get judged or whatever, and he feels like since he wasn't judged, he's not a human. I think that's an interesting use of a pretty dumb event to set up a character dilemma that we can move forward throughout these coming issues. And I really like this roster. I think it's pretty classic Avengers. I think these are the main. And besides, like, who would I replace Carol with? Like, Hulk. Yeah.
Nobody. Just drop her.
Sure.
Just have a 5-6 person team is fine.
Yeah. But, like, besides Carol, this is the Avengers. This is the ones since, like, issue 20. Whenever Vision joins the book, this is the team that I think of when I think of this title. I liked how they were all introduced. I thought there was some good dialogue in here.
Yeah.
Really liked T'Challa gives this little speech to one of the workers where she's like worried. She's like, I'm afraid, and T'Challa says like, I'm also afraid, but like in however many years' time, are you going to remember your fear? Are you going to remember when you were an Avenger? Because that's the finest thing a man can do, or a person can do, whatever he says. And I've been a king. I thought that was a great line. I thought that was super cool. I just wish I knew what T'Challa did. I really wish, like you said, there was an editor's note there. They should have explained his whole deal.
Who's he talking to? There's somebody at the Pegasus Labs or something. He decides to make a like motivation speech in the middle of battle.
He needs her to. Well, he's not in the battle. He needs her to help him activate this
I'd argue they're all
energy
in the battle,
drive.
technically, right?
He needs her to like tell him what this is, figure it out, because they're working on some experimental technology. It's like some black hole generator. They find an infinite energy device that they've somehow compiled, but it's very unstable. Terminus is trying to get it, so they have to figure out what to do, and he needs this person to work with him. Thought it was a really cool line. I really like Carol's analogy of the Avengers as firefighters, not cops. I think that's a good interpretation of those characters.
It's accurate. Also makes them feel kind of useless.
Sure.
I don't think the comparison to cops or firefighters is fair. I see firefighters, they go out to locations all the time and they don't do anything. There's no fire. They just go out.
Sure.
And then cops, I think cops are
an idealized version of that profession. They're putting out the fires of the world. They're the fires that normal firefighters.
Cops do the same thing. They're also emergency response units. They're not people that are going to prevent anything. They're the people that show up and start shooting.
Yeah,
so but I would have compared them more to cops than I would have compared them to firefighters.
Well, Carol's whole point is she's not there to enforce the law. She's just there to help people.
That's what she says. Her history says different. Her history says she's there to enforce. She's basically space police.
Sure. I would say Nova's space police, but whatever.
I'd say the whole Captain Marvel league of... But there are other Captain Marvels, right? How does her background even work? I don't know anything about this character.
Yeah, well,
Colossal is
the first Captain Marvel was just like a Kree.
No, we're talking this woman.
Yeah.
Isn't she part of some corps, Marvel, Captain Marvel? She's alone?
Yep.
She got a spaceship?
I don't know.
How'd she get her powers?
Did you watch the movie? It's very similar.
Yeah.
It has something to do with the original Marvel.
In the movie, there's a bunch of them. There's a whole crew of Marvel corpse guys. Remember Jude Law?
Yeah, no, those are just the Kree.
Yeah.
That's just the regular Kree.
So
Captain Marvel is a title outside of being a Kree.
She's just a Kree.
No. She's a human who has, like, Marvel's powers because of some incident that happened. Marvel was a Kree, the first Captain Marvel.
And they threw her in her suit.
I don't know why she became Captain Marvel. I never read that. She's honoring his legacy, I guess. Because he's been dead for like 30 years. No one else was Captain Marvel. They're like, she's been Miss Marvel for 30 years. No one's Captain Marvel. Make her Captain Marvel. She has a reason to like want to memorialize this man who meant a lot to her during that original book. I thought the faces were pretty expressive when her and Tony were talking. I thought all the expression work was really good.
Yeah, I wrote that somewhere. I think that they're... Oh, no, I wrote that for Titans later. I have no comments on the art whatsoever. I thought...
it was very competent.
I was going to say lazy. I was going to say that the beginning of the book started out really strong. Like Captain Marvel, like looking at space and even the first few meetings. By the time Black Panther shows up, again, just opinion here, Chris, don't set me on fire with those eyes. I just really think they like started to phone it in when like the chaos started going down and they were trying to draw background people at Pegasus Labs and stuff like that. I honestly have not seen Sia Villa on anything else, though. I don't know this guy's art, so there's plenty of opportunity to impress me.
Yeah.
I think the theme of this issue is why the Avengers do what they do.
Yep.
That seems to be what she goes to each of the Avengers when she goes to onboard them. Like, why are you an Avenger? Why do you do this? T'Challa, why are you a king? Why do you do those things? Tony Stark, why are you a goddamn alcoholic? Why aren't you more useful? So there's, why the Avengers do what they do, and it more or less seems like the same reason overall. Being an Avenger makes those people feel better about the people they are.
Yep.
She says something ridiculous to Thor, like, I think the reason you help us out is because you love our Mayfly-style lives. I don't think Thor knows what the fuck a Mayfly is.
No.
That was colossally dumb. And it was like, it was one of the...
They used that line twice.
I usually, that's what I was about to say. I usually give a lot of credit for Jed McKay and the way he brings things back. They use the line, and then a page later she mentions that line to Thor. There was no, time in between the line to, make it clever or seem cute or anything. It was I don't know, distracting me from the book. This book is a team-building book. That's the whole point of Avengers 1. You want to show the people that are reading the book, this is who we got, this is what we're dealing with, this is what the book's going to be from this point on. They nailed all of those bullet points. If those are bullet points, boom, 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 done. The only thing that I felt was lacking here is story. I'm a story guy. I'm always a story-driven guy. There's not much story here, right? It's a team-building book. If anything, there's a bunch of lack of story because we don't know where half the characters have been for who knows how long. And if the last issue was Avengers Omega, which happened last month, there seems to be a lot between the panels. Like, Black Panther has since left the Avengers, stopped being the captain, had a problem with his people in Wakanda, left Wakanda, and is now stranded in the middle of the ocean, alone fishing.
I think that's just a fault of Marvel editorial as a whole and the way Jason Aaron kind of wrote that book. Because he wrote it outside of what was happening. So all these characters have been moving on for months while this Avengers Forever thing has happened. That whole John Ridley situation with Black Panther happened while that book was ongoing, and there was never a chance to address it. So I think Jed McKay is left with a lot of slack here to deal with these characters, what's happened to them that Jason Aaron just never addressed.
Or he could have just kept on going and continued to ignore the nonsense that's going on in the rest of the Marvel Universe like every other book on the wall.
I don't think Jed McKay would do that.
But he could. And honestly, I kind of wish he did. Because one of the reasons I like the Avengers book so much that just ended is because it wasn't doing any of that. I would have felt tied down if I had to deal with all of the events that happened over the 75-issue run that thing, 5 years that thing went on for. Those events would have just... And Jason Aaron got to do his own cool events, like Heroes Reborn and stuff in the midst of it, which was nice.
Yeah.
I think that Jed McKay is going to be trying to play ball constantly with the rest of the universe, and I think that's going to drag this book down. But we'll see.
Yeah, if anything, he should be the front runner, and I think that's what he's going for, addressing what's happening, but more moving the universe forward.
I don't think they're going to give it to him. I don't think they're going to let him be the front runner just because he hasn't proven himself outside of the confines of Doctor Strange and Moon Knight.
All right.
But I don't know, man. I've been wrong with Marvel titles before. They go and do whatever the heck they want to do, that's for sure. You got anything to leave off on here, Chris?
I think I touched on everything.
We highly suggest you read Timeless going into this. I think it'll make the issue more worth it for you.
Yeah.
I have to go. I read it, but it was, I want to say, almost last year. And so I don't even remember what happens in that book. I have to go reread that book myself. All right, moving on to World's Finest here.
Yeah.
Which we have the same cover because we're Dan Mora fans, and
It's pretty sweet.
it's just the way it works. This is a far more complicated summary. I'd even almost say that it was convoluted. That being said, Weekly Wednesday Warriors, the way we usually do things here is we usually save the best for last, or what we think is the best for last. I'm trying to do that reverse. So Avengers, although it may have seemed like I kind of ripped it apart a little bit there, it was a really solid issue. Like I said, it hit all the bullet points that Avengers needs to hit. World's Finest only being second to that. I think the only reason it lacked a little bit is because of how convoluted the issue is. This issue, if Avengers bounced around, this issue bounces around even more.
Yeah.
Like crazy. To things that are almost irrelevant until you get to the end of the issue and you go, oh!
Yeah.
So I'd like to compare this issue to the date night issue. Beginning of the date night issue, we had a monkey escape an apartment. It was not elaborated on for a good 15 pages, 20 pages in that comic. Came back around towards the end of the comic book. Something similar happens at the beginning of this one. A monkey escapes, but it's not a monkey, it's a robot. It's not a robot, it's the Red Tornado.
Yeah.
He just goes haywire and just, boom, leaves. He was saving people from like a tornado.
Doing hero stuff.
Storm tornado thing, and he just flies off and like spewing ones and zeros going nutty.
Yeah.
You want to take the summary there, man?
Sure. So that's where we begin. Red Tornado he leaves, he shows up for a second.
Yeah.
We cut back to what was happening last issue. Robin and Superman have just ran into this Ultra Metamorpho, a version of Metamorpho who has all the chemical elements of just the ones Metamorpho was made of. He can turn himself into anything. He's turned himself into kryptonite, so he can weaken Superman. So Robin and him have to survive, more or less, what the beginning of that issue is. Robin is trying to throw things at him, get Superman out of safety, get him a second to get away from the kryptonite so he can regain himself, come up with a plan. Nothing's working. They're being thrown on the wire, and then Metamorpho shows up for the save, and he shows up with Batman.
Out of nowhere!
Out of nowhere. But they know where each other is.
He doesn't show up with Batman, necessarily.
He shows up first, and then Batman shows up in this mech made of the Metalman.
Even before Batman shows up, Metamorpho goes in there, gives Superman an outfit made of Metamorpho outfit, and you're like, "Whoa, that's totally cool!" And he's fighting the Kryptonite Man and stuff, and it stops working for some reason or another. I don't know. Something happens. Then Batman's got to come in and save the day. So Batman shows up out of nowhere. And he's wearing the Metal Man. He looks like some sort of Gundam in a way with all the metal stuff. The Metal Men came from the last issue. They were in a melting pot. I suppose Batman pulled them out somehow and reconstituted them, and is now wearing these Metal Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue if you wish.
All right. They fight the Ultra Metamorpho for a little bit. They eventually start to lose. Ultra Metamorpho gets out of there with Superman and Batman, the Metal Men and Robin. So the Metal Men, they're unconstituted from Batman. Batman is left alone. He gets beaten up by Ultra Metamorpho pretty quick. So is Superman, because he's made of kryptonite. The Metal Men decide to take their losses. They're designed to help people more than to fight crime. So alright, these two are in danger. Let's get them out of here while, we still have time.
Right.
And then
scoop up Robin and run,
Yeah.
and the evil Metamorpho takes the two heroes and flies away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in between all this, there's some cutaways to
Doom
various
Patrol.
robot characters being taken over. There's this neck thing. I had no idea what it was, but apparently it's some 60s DC
Even
character.
before that, we cut to Doom Patrol.
Yeah, Doom Patrol is first.
And what's his face?
Robot Man.
Brendan Fraser gets taken over by this robot virus thing. Starts going haywire. Cut away from Doom Patrol back to the main action, and we have Robin talking to the Metal Men, trying to decide what their next step is, I guess, right? And then we cut back to the new challengers, and the new challengers are facing this giant robot that you just said. And why the new challengers? I don't know. This is a Silver Age story. That's why the new challengers.
Mark Wade wanted to throw them in.
They're fighting Ultivac. I even wrote it down, which is this crazy Silver Age bad guy name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Robin calls in the Titans.
Yeah, but they're also fighting some kind of
But they're
robot
busy.
threat.
They're fighting the awesome threesome.
Yeah.
Right? And then Superman and Batman, they wake up. They've been kidnapped by Ultra Metamorpho.
And they're in, like, Ivo's lab, but they find out pretty quickly Ivo is not the one in charge. They all have these collars on them that stop them from using their powers. I think electrocute them, or maybe the guy does that.
Yeah.
And one of the people working there is Amazo. They run into the scientist who makes the Metal Men. They're trying to just talk to all these people, and they all don't want to talk to them. They're like, stop talking to us. He doesn't let us do that. And then new Mazo shows up, which was the only part of this book I didn't like. I thought that name was real dumb.
Oh, because Ultra Metamorpho wasn't dumb?
It's slightly more tolerable.
So we got new Mazo, and
he's the one running things. It's just a Mazo with a brain. He has like a more complicated conscious, and he's gonna take out all the humans. And that's where we leave off.
Presumably, he's the one causing this robot virus.
Yeah, he's been the one taking over billionaires, subterfuging money so he can work on this robot virus.
Supplanting them also with robots.
Yeah.
And from the last issue, we were talking about AI, so he's also trying to use AI to drive these robots. I feel like we missed a whole bunch of stuff somehow. I don't know how. Oh, it doesn't end with that. It ends with Supergirl gets called by Robin.
Oh, yeah.
Robin needs to get her to help. She's busy fighting Chemo, who I think is also robotic of some level. And then Robin starts to fight the Batmobile. The Batmobile starts going crazy on him.
Yeah.
So anything with an artificial intelligence any level of artificial intelligence seems to be being driven by this new Mazo guy. The biggest compliment that I can pay to this comic book is that Dan Mora's art goes down like candy. Everything's sweet. It all tastes good. There are moments in this book where, and I will constantly describe this book like this. This is the heel wrestler that I cheer for every time he comes out because he's doing his job really well and he makes me want to hate him. This book makes me want to hate it, but it's impossible to hate because of how amazingly done it's really being done. Like, all of this cheesy Silver Age stuff drives me up a wall. Like, this villain who needs to take over all of the robots in America. Or, like, the fact that there's a line in here where Superman says to Robin, keep him talking. Like, that's an option. Like, there's a valid option in the battle.
Yeah.
All right, we can fight him, or we can talk to him. Let's talk to him! And the dude, literally, Ultra Mazo, whoever they were talking to, Ultra whoever.
Ultra Morpho.
Continued to talk and tell his whole plan and how everything was going on. It's just so unbelievable. The way that they talk, too, the dialogue is even cheesy. It's like they're like really like filled with themselves supervillains that think that they know better than everyone else and they're gonna win and defeat the heroes. And it's so funny. And like even the characters that he decides to include in this book, like the new Challengers and Doom Patrol and Red Tornado. You know, it feels like a Brave and the Bold team-up cast of people that he's bringing in and stuff. The title story is very intricate. It's always a few things going on, often following many different characters. Supergirl, Robin, Batman, Superman, the Doom Patrol in this case and stuff. It jumps around like crazy, which can distract you a little bit, but it comes back around and it has reasons for jumping around and stuff, so this is both an upside and a downside. The book is like trying to be traditional in the most untraditional sense. It's so strange. It drives me up a wall, but I really like it. You got anything to add here, Chris?
No.
I think it's pretty sweet. Batman gets to wear Metal Men, and alternatively, Superman gets to wear Metamorpho.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that was pretty fair.
Yeah.
You know, treating both your big characters with some cool new design. Cameron Bonvillain's coloring it, which makes Dan Mora's art go down even more easy.
Yeah.
The book's good. It's 15 issues in. It doesn't feel like it's 15 issues in to me. I don't feel like they have a 15-issue storyline going. I feel like this has been a slew of like 4-issue storylines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but these days, if a title does go on for 15 issues, it's usually because there is an ongoing storyline. Usually they cut and run with these around this number. They'll cut at like 12, 16 or so. Then they'll go and re-bring it back with a new number 1. They did the same thing with the last Batman Superman.
Yeah.
So this doesn't look like it has an end in sight. I hope it doesn't, because I'll keep reading it as long as Dan Moore is on the pages. And so there's not a whole lot of reward here, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for sticking along for this long. Your reward is that Dan Moore is still doing this book. He's still drawing Batman.
I mean, I like Mark Waid more than you do, and every month this book is a treat to read. Whatever he has going on, he's doing something no one else is, and it's so refreshing. Just like weird villains, interesting, like, I guess convoluted is not a bad word to use. But
no,
like,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I wouldn't say he's been using too many weird villains either, because he has used Joker.
He did use Joker, but he also used the key, and then he used his own made-up villain before that, which was like a demon thing.
Yeah, but now he's back to Amazo.
Yeah.
So it's a good mix of known villains, unknown villains. He just really, I think what Chris is really just trying to say, the cast is diverse. Cast is super diverse, from heroes to villains.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters that are in this book. It's what makes it kind of convoluted and jumping around. I'd say we beat the heck out of World's Finest number 15 quite enough by now.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on.
Cool. Titans number 1.
Titans number 1! I'm sure probably the real title that Chris is looking forward to reviewing here. I'm not going to touch this summary with a 10-foot pole. I don't remember what happens in this book at all.
Oh, okay.
I hope that you do.
Yeah.
Great.
So, the book opens sometime in the future, presumably. Wally West has just been shot in the back. We don't know who did it. Book opens on an emblem with some blood on it. He's bleeding out. He's got seconds. So, there's a really cool line. I'm going to die in seconds. I can do a lot in seconds. Thought that was cool. Wally just starts moving. He says he loves you to his family. He's going away. Gets on the cosmic treadmill. Runs to the past. Cut away from that entirely.
All right. Now, before we begin, why can't he just vibrate the thing out of himself and then vibrate himself to a hospital?
It happened too quickly. Whoever shot him, it's already hit his heart. He's dying.
I've seen them do literally...
It was point blank right to his back.
I've seen them do literally physics breaking, science breaking, all sense breaking nonsense with the Speed Force.
Yep.
This is a pretty hard pill to swallow for me, just putting it out there. We'll continue.
Okay. So the Titan, it's moving day. That's
Flash, bang!
Yeah.
The bang! Lots of bang! There was
We're
two bangs.
We're now in the past, but Wally doesn't come back till later.
2 whole bangs.
So, it's moving day. The Titans are moving into the tower. It's Raven and Gar who we open up on. Gar's been turning into a mouse. He's really, shaken by, a near-death experience he had recently.
Not specifically a mouse. He's been shape-shifting in his nightmares.
Yeah.
In his sleep. Sleep-shifting.
Yeah. And he's with Raven. They're like a thing, I guess. I guess they've done a thing. Doesn't matter. They're moving in. The Titans show up at the tower to come in. Immediately there's a problem. There's a distress call. So Cyborg makes a boom tube. They go to this nuclear reactor. It's being attacked by Titano.
Bang!
Bang!
You know why this is here? Bang!
It's like a time travel sound effect.
Is it? Because bang!
Yeah.
That looks like a bullet effect. But then we bang twice. We bang.
Yeah.
You got anything for that?
No.
All right.
I guess it's just a similar sound, some repetition.
I don't think that either of us are even close.
Okay.
Anyway,
they're fighting Titano, who's attacking a nuclear reactor.
Similar to Avengers, they're fighting this character while, no, they do piece it out before they even start fighting the dude. Dick and not Dick. Yeah. No. Yeah. Dick and Donna go to see Tempest to do what Carol was doing in Avengers 1 and team build a little bit. And Tempest is like, nah, y'all Earth people suck. I'm going and diving into the water. Why would I want to join you and your Earth people?
I thought that was really weird.
That's the purpose, though. They even state that it's weird in the book. Several characters are like, that's very un-Garth of him.
He's working with someone,
so
he mentioned.
That's going to go somewhere. Oh, man. Weekly Wednesday Warriors, I apologize. I have to revert to World's Finest for one note. Did you notice when when Superman wakes up in Ivo's lab, that Bruce calls him Cal?
Oh. That's weird.
Right? I'm under the impression
That's just a mistake.
that is not Bruce.
Oh.
That is another robot Ivo clone.
That'd be cool.
That Superman is just not smart enough to use his X-ray vision.
Well, he can't. He has, like, the collar.
Oh, right. Well, I'll have to. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, that's theory. Batman's not really Batman in that book. Anyway, back to this book where the Titans really are who they say they are.
Yeah.
I think that Tempest, the reason why he's so off-putting is that's going to come back around, just like the whole Batman being a robot thing is going to come back around in the other book.
Right.
But Chris is right. They fight this big monkey man. Big monkey man, similar to Avengers, is threatening a giant laboratory.
Yeah.
It's
a nuclear power plant.
It is, which I think Pegasus was, for lack of better term, also somewhat of a nuclear power plant. Some similar...
More of a super science power plant, but, similar concepts.
Yeah, some real coincidental... two giant things are attacking a laboratory in both these number ones.
Yeah.
So that's coincidental as heck. But in any case, we got Two-Eyed Beast Boy.
Yeah,
with an editor's note to a book that hasn't actually
doesn't come out for 4 months.
Doesn't come out yet. He's still walking around with one eye in the Nightwing book.
Yep.
This is driving me up a wall. I hate these kinds of inconsistencies, man. It's super lazy too, unbelievably lazy.
Right.
I understand that Tom Taylor can't write his eye back in. Right. It's gotta be left to this one person who's doing this one Titans title over here in a corner. But there's huge chances are that Titans title, Tales of the Titans, I think it's called, isn't even going to get it read by anybody. Also, with Night Terrors coming, we might not get that book for 4 months.
Yeah.
Who knows when we'll be explaining why Beast Boy has one eye or
it's
two
issue
eyes.
4 anyway. So I think it's a monthly book.
Right. I don't even know that it's started soliciting yet.
It has, but it still doesn't. We don't know why he has his eye back. There isn't an issue to check out to find out why he has his eye back.
The issue 1 at least hasn't come out yet. Then.
Yeah.
Because I own a comic shop and it hasn't come through here.
No, it was solicited pretty recently. The first issue, which was Starfire, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So we haven't even seen this series. It's 4 issues in. We got to get through 2 months of Night Terrors.
Yeah.
We are not going to find out the
I
story
do think
behind
Tales of the Titans is coming out while Night Terrors is going on. It's one of the minis that
that's
are coming.
fine. It's just still going to take forever. Is
Yeah.
that point? It's totally unfair to the reader. Very much bullshit.
And a really annoying editor's note, because there could have been... You didn't have to make an editor's note, or you could have said this is coming out in this month, or this book isn't out yet.
Or told us in the editor's note why he has 2 eyes.
Or have a dialogue about it. One line.
But anyway, he doesn't. So we got the Titans, and they're fighting the thing, and they call upon Oracle, and Oracle tells them something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But
I think Oracle pinpoints its location, and then Cyborg Queen.
Right, that's true. Which, makes me think Oracle's officially a Titans member too, even though she's not going to get the time for it. She's going to be the one going forward that's going to be dictating where and when and how and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With helps of Nightwing and stuff.
And I think that's pretty classic role for Oracle. Back when she was Oracle, confined to the wheelchair, she'd do that for the Justice League pretty often during the early 2000s.
Right.
So that's a pretty standard thing for her to do. Just be someone for Batman or Nightwing to call in.
Yeah, and it's going to happen constantly.
Yeah. Especially with Tom Taylor writing both books.
Especially with Nightwing dating her at the moment.
Yeah. Beast Boy turns into a kaiju to fight Titano.
He does.
He becomes this Tamaranian beast that he saw sometime.
Which, if you remember, we were reading Nightwing, and he was in Hell, and he turned into some Hell demon as well.
Yeah.
So Beast Boy's abilities have been growing, or at least progressing towards other things outside of just animals now, which is kind of cool.
He can become any animal that he sees, more or less. He has to have seen it, understand it.
I'd argue any mythical creature, up to and including mythical creatures.
Yeah, I just count that as
his line, the line where for some dumb reason his power stops is human. He's not allowed to be anything that seemingly has a conscience.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the demons probably had a conscience, so... I guess he's just not allowed to be human.
So I don't get it. I don't understand. This is not for me to judge. This is something I just got to keep on trucking with. Whatever. Beast Boy has 2 eyes and can transform into dragons. Okay.
Yeah.
Peacemaker shows up.
Yeah.
Just trying to take down this monkey man.
You should join the... they take him out. Cyborg contains the nuclear field.
Well, Peacemaker shows up and immediately commands him and his army, kill that thing!
Yeah.
And they do nothing of the sort because the Titans immediately quell that and then take down the monkey and sedate him or whatever. And they stand next to Peacemaker and they're like, what's up, Peacemaker? And Peacemaker's like...
Well, Beast Boy's the one who says that, and Peacemaker then tells him, put a muzzle on that creature.
Right,
The first thing he says.
Right, yes. Raven's not a fan of that.
No one is. I think Donna has a line like, I thought the monkey was the worst monster we were going to fight today.
Yeah.
Kind of lame, but...
No, it was funny.
I thought that was lame as hell.
She was talking to her other Titans. She was making like a joke on this jackass over here. But in case, so Peacemaker's there and he's reporting back to Waller about what's going on.
He tells them to join the U.S. government. And Nightwing's like, we're not going to do that. And Peacemaker's like, then you're going to have an enemy with the U.S. government. And then he leaves. And then reports to Waller that they didn't join the U.S. government, so there'll be a problem.
There's going to be a problem. And Nightwing, Peacemaker says something ignorant, like, you should support America, the country you're all from or whatever.
Yeah. And then, like, half of them say, I'm not from America, I'm from a demon realm.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, the line is, your president is
Tamaran.
asking you to serve your country. Donna says, it's not my country. And Starfire says, it's not even my world. And then Raven says, I was born in another dimension.
Yeah.
So there's really only 3 Americans on this squad, if that. I don't know how to classify Beast Boy, to be honest with you. But yeah, they go away, and there's some cheesy jokes in there that include that line about facing monsters, Peacemaker being the bigger monster and stuff. But the another line that I felt was kind of cheesy and stuff was their reference to the Teen Titans television program. They're all going to live together, and they start talking about like duties in regards to living together. One of them says that Beast Boy is not allowed to wash dishes as an octopus, and then he was like, "But it was super effective." And Cyborg's like, "No, we get a 0 tolerance policy on octopus dishwashing." And Beast Boy's like, "Oh, but it was only that once." Yeah, I think all of his jokes fell in this issue. Unfortunately, this issue was not funny.
No,
but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be more character and plot and character personality development, things like that.
Yeah, maybe.
For sure. That's why it's dude. This is why it's 3 issues in, and it's not at the top of my list. You know how much I love Tom Taylor. What would stop me from putting this at number 1? Stuff like that. Me acknowledging that his jokes failed.
Yeah.
Me acknowledging that the story was okay. It wasn't like, wow, I can't wait to read number 2. Like, I could wait.
No, I thought this book wasn't very good.
I can honestly wait probably 2 months through Night Terrors for the 2nd issue of this.
Yeah.
I thought the book was really good because it did make it on the show, and like if we were to compare it to any other book that came out this week, all the other books probably fell a hell of a lot. Not these books, but like books on the wall fell a lot short of Titans number 1. Titans number 1 was good, but maybe not as good as Tom Taylor's usual stuff. He's also not one who comes swinging out of the park all the time, too. His number 1s aren't always like, wow, this is great. Tom Taylor's known for his stories. His full and complete stories and stuff.
Yeah. And he's setting some stuff up that's interesting. Yeah,
and note the time skip between this and in Nightwing. Nightwing looks like it might be 2 months before this book even opens up.
Yeah.
Especially with the 2-eyed Beast Boy thing. So I like that he's not intending on like roping these together constantly, as I was assuming he was going to. It looks like he's managed to space them out quite a bit. And this was next to nothing of a Nightwing issue, right? But like Nightwing had 6 good panels. Yeah, that's all he wanted. I know that you've been commenting on the Nightwing book being more of a Titans book, and I've been telling you, no, this is still a Nightwing book. I think this is the perfect juxtaposition to like assert my assertions there. That book really is a Nightwing book because it really is carried by that character and that character almost alone. Whereas this was all over the place.
Yeah.
We didn't have any cement for anybody because we had to tackle a whole bunch of characters. I think Cyborg barely gets to talk in the whole book.
Yeah, no. He has like 2 lines and they're both lame.
So, it is what it is. It's a $4 book, too. They didn't bother to charge us an extra $1 on it, which is
There's
nice.
no backup.
There's no backup, which is also nice in a way. I don't really want to read some other dumb writer's nonsense, Titans spin-off background nonsense. So I'll take it for what it is. Did we buy the hold-up cover? I don't think we did. I got this sweet Jim Lee cover that cost me an extra $1, but was totally worth it.
I got this one by Nicholas Scott.
And, speaking of Nicholas Scott, I think Nicholas Scott's faces are really good.
Yes,
I think he might be doing the best faces in DC Comics.
And
all the facial
did it remind you of George Perez, kind of? I got, like, some of the designs and everything. It looked a lot to me like modern George Perez, which I really appreciated.
It didn't, but I actually haven't read that much George Perez, Marv Wolfman stuff in my life.
Yeah.
So
I've read a lot of that.
I have an idea of what that stuff looks like, but I haven't internalized it maybe as much as you can. I think it'd be hard to do a Titans book and not feel a little bit like Perez.
No, but I don't think Bruno Redondo is doing that. Not to talk bad about Bruno Redondo. It's not even Redondo who's doing the Titans issues. Who's doing them?
I don't know. Not Redondo.
Someone who looks like Redondo. The issue actually ends with them coming back to the tower. They find Wally's corpse. That's how the issue ends. Oh, and all the monitors say solve it or something.
Yeah, like a big detective mystery.
Yeah.
It was a great ending for an okay book.
Nightwing is like, this is a crime scene. No one touch anything.
And I was also going to say that it was also relatively simple, number one. You know, they weren't trying to, like, Avengers, I wouldn't say it's complicated, but there was a lot that you had to be like, okay, I'm cool with this. Okay, I'm cool with this. Okay, I'm cool with this. Okay, this team makes sense. Okay, I understand everybody's intentions. I understand their motives. Understand why they're doing it. And Terminus is attacking. Okay, it's time for them to come together. Titans, they're already together.
Yeah.
You don't need to know much. You could have read Dark Crisis. But honestly, you could have watched the Teen Titans TV show for 15 years ago, jumped onto this book, and not felt a beat skipped.
Right.
This is a really easy read. And I got to compliment it for that reason, too, because a lot of Tom Taylor's stuff, I wouldn't say are difficult reads, but they're more fun. This didn't feel like a lot of fun. This felt like a comic book. Mm-hmm. Like you are reading a serialized story that is Titans.
Yeah.
And that's a totally fine feeling with me. You got anything to add here? I got like less than a quarter of a page of notes for this issue.
Yeah, I talked about most of my actual notes. I want to say I thought the beats of a Titans book were all here. I think he does some... It's been a long time since this team has been the Titans team. It's been since before 2003, before the Jeff Johns Teen Titans run, that the new Teen Titans were a team together like this. They're kind of together throughout the books. Similar... Not this exact team, though. Not Nightwing, Wally. So yeah, getting to see this team together was really fun. I liked all these characters. I really didn't like Tom Taylor's dialogue for them. I think Teen Titans is usually a drama book. The Titans. I think that's how Wolfman Press wrote that book. And I thought all the romance stuff was really poorly written. Tom Taylor has this habit of writing very one-sided conversations when they're talking about like love stuff, where one character will have a problem, and the other character will be like, no, I love you. Let's not talk about the problem. Their love overpowers their feeling.
I guess we're moving on, Weekly Wednesday Warriors, to Little Monsters 13, which has an even easier summary than the rest of them.
Here's the Dustin Nguyen.
Yeah. Hold up. Some covers over here.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good use of negative space, mostly black.
This is 3-sentence summary.
Sure.
The guy who's hunting them down gets killed by a molten cocktail tossed by one of the vampires. Presumably, vampire learned how to put it together from that dude as he was watching the dude set up traps.
Yeah.
Dude sets on fire. The other vampires now don't have a body to suck anymore because that was their last that they are at least were aware of. So they're all pissed, but it kind of gives them an opportunity to come together until they realize that there's that girl that they've been hiding and trying to help. So the evil vampire dudes go after the girl. By the time they find the girl's been turned. Romy goes and turns the girl into a vampire. Now there's no humans. Everybody's on the same side again. There's nothing threatening them. The only real difference is they know that they don't need to stay in the city anymore because everything that they knew was a lie. So the girl, Romy, Lucas, everybody else that's still alive, Billy, Yuki, they proceed to leave the city. They're going to go and become nomad vampires.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the book. It's been 13 issues of really good stuff. I didn't see it culminating to this. I don't feel like this is much of an end. But playing on that, the last thing in the book is an infinity symbol right at the very bottom. That's kind of the purpose of this book, is there is no real end. You become a vampire, you have eternal life, eternal youth in this case. So, yeah.
I forget how the mechanics work. Is Romy no longer immortal because she turned that girl?
Romy, no. You
Okay,
have
you
to,
have
like,
to eat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really. I wanted this book is on the show here because we've gone through 3 or 4 issues of them.
Yeah.
They've been fantastic, and this book was fantastic too. This issue was good. It's just that these like, if Detective takes you 20 minutes to read, Little Monsters takes 5.
Yeah.
It's 1/4 of the effort to read the book, and that's just because the people that are putting the book together have mastered their craft and have mastered the story, knew what they wanted to put down on the paper. And at issue 13, there's not a whole lot of questions left. You just wrap it all up, get it together, put a bow on it, make it look real nice. You got anything to add to this at all?
Yeah, there's some cool paneling choices. I really like how the kid slowly, like, as the main evil kid, has sort of corrupted everyone else. They're all covered in like really dense black shadows, except for Romy. Romy really sticks out on the page when you see them.
Yeah,
she's all they're all white, very different from everyone else. And I think at the end there's a similar thing they do where, like, now that the other human has turned, like, they're all in shadows again.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a good bunch.
All the silhouettes were really good.
Yeah, the art is super strong,
yeah.
And they homage their own title pretty often. Like, the book opens up them saying, "This is the night, and these were the children." And then they go in the book. They even do, which they've been doing the whole series. They they give you some background on each of the characters. In this book, Romy's drawing on the walls all of the origins to all of the people that lived in the city as we're ending this book, and it's pretty cool. But it's also homaging the story that we've already seen and bringing it all to the culmination that is this issue 13 finishing out. I think the other reason why this particular issue didn't feel as crazy of an end is because the last issue had such a big ending.
Yeah.
Last issue, one of the favorite characters I'd imagine everybody has got hit with fire and presumably is going to die like the 3 other vampires that died right before him. He doesn't. He lives. He's, like, burnt a little bit or whatever. Probably heals since he's a vampire. And they go on from there.
Yeah.
But, you know...
This issue focuses a lot more on, like, interpersonal drama. Because, like, the whole crux of this final issue is they kill the main human hunter, but the main vampire kid, he starts, like... He's kind of lost it, and he's letting all the little monsters sort of, like, die so he can, like, get at this human. He really wants to kill them. Yeah. And he's, like, sacrificing everything they've worked for in this city. A bunch of the kids are about to be, like, burned by the sunlight because he wants to kill this human. By the time he gets there, she's turned, and he's just left in his own, like, misery, sort of. And they leave him there. I don't think he joins their little nomad group. I think he's the last one in the city with all his dead friends that he's more or less killed because he chose to pursue vengeance.
That's not what I got. In fact, I think it was...
a bunch of them are, like... they were in the sunlight.
The last thing that they do at the end of the book is, what's-her-face, the girl that just got turned, reaches out to Billy and is like, well, come with us.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, Billy's on the ground over here. He's all pissed off and sad. He hates his life. He's looking pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then
that's why I didn't think it was him. I thought that looked like a different kid.
And then she reaches out, come with us.
But that makes sense.
And the only person that dies to the sun is the last twin that's left.
Was the other twin already dead?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like a metaphorical thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The kid that shows up to stay by his side. Yeah. That was.
And then there's there's the other two in, like, the sun that they're, like, embracing each other or something. I don't remember what was happening with them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the characters that were on the good side of the fence live, and they get to go away with Billy and Romy and the new girl. I feel like we should chop this issue to bits here, but there's really not a whole lot to say other than this is one of those titles that it was really good. It was all good all the way through. Is probably worth a reread in the future. You could easily
when it's all collected.
Could easily see this become some sort of a TV show if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Based on the success of this, I'm sure Jeff Lemire will continue to write Image titles.
I think there's a preview for one in the back.
Yeah, Primordial.
Yep.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. That book's actually already out. Just not up my alley. Jeff Lemire is so versatile of a writer that he writes stuff even I don't like.
Okay.
Straight up, not because it's bad, but because I just don't care. I tried reading a title of his that was different. It was called Gideon Falls. Collective waste of time for me. It went nowhere. It was like a slow burn horror thriller, and it was just like I don't get it. I missed the whole purpose of the book somehow.
Right.
But this one I got. Eternal Youth. What would you do with something like that? What happens when you put kids up against adults and when the kids are actually older than the adults are?
Right.
What does an adult do to children that are monsters? What defines a monster? There's just a lot of themes, a lot of subjects being tackled here.
Yeah.
Can't say the same for Gideon Falls. I don't know what that book was about. Moving right along.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on, in the couple splash pages, the use of red was really good. When you see the kid turn, there's like a little dribble of red. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
It's the subtle things in this book, because the book is made out of black and whites. Anytime they put any level of color, it really attracts your attention. And they master those black, whites, and grays, and it showcases day and night really well too. What's funny is the more night it is, the brighter things are, and the more day it is, the darker things are. Because our characters operate during the night, so that I guess that's just when they're able to see. We're seeing things through their eyes. So, really interesting contrast in the art. The art's where it's at. The writing's just, this book is very well married. We can only say things positive about it over and over and over again, though.
Yeah.
Moving right along to our last book.
Guardians of the
Can't believe
Galaxy.
we've even had the time to do it, but I figured we would. Guardians of the Galaxy number 2.
I got the one by Mark Shadow. Scott's got the one by Peach and Moko.
Dude, now that we've chewed this up, I feel like this should have been first.
Yeah, I like this book.
Now that I think about it, I think this was one of the best titles that we've read this week. It also has a simple summary, though, right?
Yeah.
Summary is, Group Fall is still coming. In fact, it has eaten the prior planet in issue 1. It's going to go eat this planet in issue 2. So what are the Guardians doing? They're going across the galaxy trying to forewarn people that Groot is coming to eat their planet. So they go down to, is it 2 planets or 2 sides of a planet? Doesn't matter.
The Manifold Territory.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, they go to this territory area, and Peter Quill, Star-Lord, has a friend that he used to work with in his mercenary days.
Yep.
It's hanging out, is now part of the war effort. And Nebula, who can talk to anything because she's a supercomputer, is going with Gamora to go and see the techno people who live also on the other side of this territory.
Yep.
Drax is staying behind because he doesn't feel like this is his mission. Seems like this is mostly diplomacy oriented.
Yeah.
We know Guardians of the Galaxy. That's not the way this is going to go. So Peter Quill and Mantis go, and they fail. They try to talk this guy out of, sticking around, and they try to talk him to bring his war elsewhere and save his people. And the dude's just not hearing it so much, so he starts fighting Peter Quill. They start shooting at him. Star-Lord and Mantis are like, all right, we're out of here. We're not dealing with this. Then on the other side of things, similarly, Gamora and Nebula are trying their best to communicate with these techno people, and Nebula is failing to do so. And they don't have any answers, and nothing is going well. And then the techno people start tearing Nebula apart, piece by piece, the Rubik's Cube her face. And Gamora's had enough of that. As soon as she sees that, she goes and terrorizes the lot of them. They start beating things up, as Nebula and Gamora do, and they see an opportunity to steal something that would give them money. They're out of gas at the moment, so they have incentive and motivation to do it. They steal this giant gold money thing from these techno-lords. They then leave the techno-lords. Everything is blowing up because they left things in destruction. On the other side of the fence, things are also blowing up because Peter Quill and Mantis can't leave the place without it going to shit. But less shit than it looks like with the techno-lords or whatever.
Yeah.
They both meet back up at the ship, and both of them are yelling at each other. Star-Lord, you didn't get anything done. This was supposed to be your friend. Gamora, you were supposed to talk to the techno guys and calm them down. What the heck happened? How did this get out of control? Why do you have a bunch of money? Why did you steal all this stuff? We're out of gas. How could you blame me? They start arguing and stuff. And they eventually both come to each other's sides and realize that this just was not an opportunity. Also, Groot is coming. Do they really have the chance? Do they have the time to really talk about this whole mob?
Yeah.
So they start getting on their way, and Peter Quill goes to talk to Drax, and Drax is like, I feel bad for the people of this planet. They are torn, and they don't know who they really are and where their true compassions lie. They remind me of myself. She said in the same thing in the last issue, that he's looking at all this terrible depression, like really sad things going on in the universe, and he's just empathizing with every single bit of it.
Yeah.
Because Drax is having a tough time right now, and we're not really sure why. But he is, so maybe that'll be something that goes on forward. Maybe Drax is maybe in fault for the reason why Groot is doing the things that he's doing. I don't know.
We'll find out.
I thought that this was like a very classic Guardians comic. I haven't read a lot of Guardians stuff, so I don't know that I can even safely say that. But the art was fast and loose.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool looking. There was a lot of talk, and then after all of the lot of talk, a whole lot of action for like 2 pages or so to make up for all the talk. They split up the team, which also seems pretty stereotypical of a Guardian story.
Yeah.
Drax, we already talked about his low self-esteem and self-worth, which I just don't know where that's coming from, but it's entertaining, and he's acting as some sort of a wise man in a way for the readers to go, oh, well, there's like a lesson at the end of this issue even. The book is really rewarding, and I think on some level I have like a bias against it because it's a Guardians book that I can't look at this as like, this is going to be some really great comics. This is probably just going to be on the same line of a Spider-Man or an X-Men book where it's just trying to popcorn entertain me and keep me entertained and like to the pages and glued.
Yeah.
But it's not only doing that, but it's making me think. It's making me think about the characters. It's making me think about how the art is done in the book. It's making me think about where the heck the story is going, especially since it's only slated for, I believe, 5 issues.
Oh. I did not know that.
I believe it's only slated for 5 or 6 issues.
That's really unfortunate.
You're telling me. This seems like it could go on for 12, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this book. I think something we haven't touched on is there's this Western aesthetic they're taking on throughout this.
Yeah, kind of left in the 2nd issue, but they might bring that back again.
Yeah. But they're picking up that motif with the title of the issue, which is called A Fistful of Mysterium. And that's what the Thing, Gamora, and Nebula steal.
Mysterium. Yeah.
It's a reference to the Clint Eastwood movie.
Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the first issue wasn't named after a movie too.
Yeah, I just didn't pick up on it. I just saw it here.
Pick up on it.
I thought all the dialogue was really good in this issue. I thought there were some cool lines.
I've seen Fistful of Dollars. I can't remember what happens in that movie, but perhaps there's some level of Civil War.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going on in this book, really.
And I think one of the coolest things about reading a Guardians book, I like Guardians more than, I would say, my co-host. Or I've read more, I would say.
Probably right.
And I think I like the Marvel cosmic side of the universe. I think it's so well defined, and there's so many interesting like territories and stuff. And I think too often the big books that deal with that aren't versed in that side of the universe. It's usually Fantastic Four, which is an Earth-based book, but just goes to space sometimes. Or like X-Men, again, Earth-based book that goes to space, deals with these cool cosmic concepts, but leaves. Guardians are really allowed to explore in that, deal with how this universe that's so well defined affects little people, affects the people who are working, how all these different races interact on like a normal level, other than just when the big Earth teams would have to get involved. And I think it's really cool. And I think we see that a little bit here as we talk about this like warring space that like no one really owns and everyone has a territory against, because if they fought over it, it's like in the middle of all these territories, so if they fought over it, it would cause a war that's not worth it, because this is junk land that basically no one is fighting over. These two like nobody sides just to get their foot in the universe, but it's nothing. I think all that is really cool. Speaks to like this again Western motif of like unclaimed frontier that we had in like the new in the West when we were exploring that area. And it's really good. And again, I really recommend checking out the book for yourself to read some of that dialogue. Skylar really touched on the beats of Drax's speech, but it's really poetic. And I thought it was really great, and I just loved how it ended. And again, Kev Walker's doing a great job in the art. Fast and loose, energetic. It's all really fun.
Yeah. You know, we like we were saying when we started this out, we really don't usually save the best for last, but I guess we kind of did in a way anyway.
At least I think so.
Think that about wraps us up. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, think this was a pretty good week.
I think so too.
Any week where you have 5 titles is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to fit another 5 titles on another episode in the future, to be honest.
No, because they both have to be summarizable in the same time as 4, and also quality.
Yeah, we had, I'd say, 3 pretty easily summarizable issues out of the 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we didn't have more. Well, we had plenty of time, but it's a shame that we didn't. I wouldn't even say it's a shame. It's too bad we don't have more to chop up about each of these titles because they're all really good.
Yeah.
But they're all. The only one that isn't early. Little Monsters wrapping up. There's not much to say about a book that's wrapping up that hasn't already been said through the course of doing the book. World's Finest is not real. It's an ongoing title in the most literal name.
Yeah.
It is ongoing, but is there an ongoing story other than like progressing characters? I guess not really.
No.
Right. And then Avengers is starting out. Titans is starting out, and even though this is Guardians issue 2,
it's still
early
days.
Basically starting out. So we gotta leave it the way it is. Hopefully these books will continue to be on the show and be as interesting as they have been this week.
Yep.
That being said, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll have the May Shonen Jump 2003 20th anniversary review and summary up in a week or 2 before the end of May, that's for sure. Stay tuned. Like the vid. Subscribe if you can. Tell your friends about us. If you like comics, we do this every week. Thanks for watching.
Have a good one.